Tonight, after decades of evading authorities, two alleged leaders of Mexico's most brutal and powerful drug cartel are in U.S. custody.
Tonight, two of the world's most powerful drug lords are in U.S. custody, including the son of former kingpin Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, both charged with flooding the United States with drugs like fentanyl and cocaine.
In the world of drug cartels, Damaso Lopez Serrano, known as Mini Lick, stands out for his betrayal and survival. Born into the Sinaloa cartel's elite, he rose in rank before turning himself in to the DEA, dismantling the cartel from within. His cooperation led to the arrest of key members and exposed the brutal reign of El Chapo's sons, Los Chapitos. But before we start, subscribe now to delve into Mini Lick's chilling confessions and the fight against the Sinaloa cartel. Damaso Lopez Serrano was a crucial part of the notorious Sinaloa cartel. Born in Sinaloa in 1987 to Damaso Lopez Nunez, who was a prison guard in Altiplano prison around the time El Chapo made his first escape in 2001. Nunez was one of the orchestrators of his escape after El Chapo bribed a total of $2.5 million to 78 people. El Chapo remembered Nunez's loyalty and invited him into the Sinaloa ranks. This was happening as Chapo's cartel was growing at an unprecedented rate. At the same time, in the early 2000s, El Chapo started grooming his sons to be ruthless kill machines like him. Sadly, cartels tend to be family businesses, and the eldest sons rarely escape their fate as sicarios or drug lords. As El Chapo was grooming Los Chapitos, so was Nunez grooming Mini Lick. Mini Lick started working for the Sinaloa cartel as a teenager. It wasn't long before El Chapo noticed his extra ruthlessness and business savvy. For a while, it seemed like a perfect match. Mini Lick was around the same age as Los Chapitos, and he could work closely with them to establish new smuggling routes and ensure control of their territories, fighting off rival cartels. But after El Chapo's arrest in 2016, things took a turn for the worse. In 2017, Chapo was finally extradited to the United States. He'd escaped prison in Mexico twice, and the U.S. had been pressing the Mexican government to do the right thing once and for all. From the state's highest security federal prison, Chapo could not escape, no matter how much he promised to bribe the guards or warden. His face, right after landing in New York, said it all. He knew he would not get out of this one, and if El Chapo knew, so did his sons and all his collaborators. When a cartel leader is removed, a feeding frenzy ensues. Everyone tries to fill in the position, even if that means killing former friends. Mini Lick and his dad were no longer besties with Los Chapitos. They were fighting to climb the ranks and establish themselves as main figures within the Sinaloa cartel. In May 2017, Nunez was arrested on a long list of charges, including money laundering, smuggling, and violent crimes. His son knew he had to act fast. In July of that year, Mini Lick handed himself to the authorities in Calexico, the Mexican town in California. This was huge both to the authorities and the Sinaloa. Mini Lick remains the highest-ranking Mexican cartel leader to hand himself in to U.S. authorities. Instead of controlling the Sinaloa cartel from the inside, Mini Lick chose to control it from the outside by striking a deal with the DEA. Mini Lick revealed all his secrets and helped arrest and extradite oodles of high-ranking Sinaloa cartel members, including Ovidio Guzman. By 2017, when Mini Lick was in custody, Los Chapitos had gained notoriety as the new leaders of the Sinaloa. They are known as Los Chapitos, the four most trusted sons of the world's most notorious drug kingpin. As the IT team has reported for several years, federal drug investigators in Chicago consider El Chapo's sons in charge of the Sinaloa cartel, which remains the area's largest trafficker of H**-Rowan, C**-Cain, and metha** mines. It was also clear they were at least as brutal as their father. Ovidio, for instance, has ordered the murders of informants, a rival drug trafficker, and a popular Mexican singer who refused to perform at his wedding. Cartel leaders tend to have very fragile egos. They can only stand to have the last word and final decision. They're not used to hearing no. Experience has taught them that they can just bribe or kill anyone who does. El Chapo taught his sons to be just like him. As young adults, they were already behaving in a very similar way. The DEA had gathered a long list of reasons to arrest them ASAP. In July 2019, El Chapo was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole at ADX Florence in Colorado. 3 months later, the DEA started a huge operation together with the Mexican military to arrest 2 Chapitos, Ovidio, and Ivan. On October 17th, the Mexican authorities localized both brothers. At around 3 a.m., they went after Ivan, but Ivan had men infiltrated everywhere, including the Mexican army. He learned what was about to go down, escaped, and rallied up his own army of hundreds of sicarios, armed much like the SWAT team trying to arrest them. In the early hours of the morning, the military surrounded Ovidio's house. Initially, Ovidio started shooting at the officers, not realizing he was heavily outnumbered. When he decided he would probably die if he continued, he exited his house with his hands up. But news of his arrest traveled fast. Within moments, even Sicario army and thousands of other Sinaloa soldiers descended upon the Mexican military, raining hell on pretty much anyone in their sight. Shockingly enough, Ovidio tried to put an end to the massacre. However, it's unclear whether he meant this or he just said it for the camera in case he got arrested. In any case, his statement was irrelevant. It was already an all-out war. The Sicarios released cartel prisoners, set fire to cars to block important roads, and invaded the local airport. Trade and travel were completely stopped in the Sinaloa region for the rest of the day. 7 officers and 1 civilian were killed, and the surviving civilians were instructed to hide in their homes. The cartels were imposing a curfew on the town until Ovidio was released. To the dismay of many, the Sinaloa's plan worked. Violence paralyzed the streets of a Mexican city as security forces traded gunfire with heavily armed members of a drug cartel. The son of the notorious drug kingpin El Chapo was taken into custody and then let go. President Andrés Manuel López Obrador ordered Ovidio's immediate release to prevent further loss of life. This sent the wrong message that the authorities were easily intimidated and the cartel was in control. Falco Ernst, senior analyst for the International Crisis Group in Mexico, said the release of Ovidio Guzman set a dangerous precedent and sent a message that the state itself, including the army, could be blackmailed and was not in control. In January 2023, President López Obrador made a decisive shift. On January 5th, a SWAT team raided Ovidio Guzman's residence during a party, capitalizing on the inebriated state of his guards. The swift and intense operation led to devastating consequences. 29 people died in less than an hour as cartel members targeted aircraft and the Culiacan airport. Despite their efforts, they failed to rescue Ovidio, who was promptly captured and transported to prison. This raid resulted in significant casualties, including 19 Sinaloa cartel members and 10 military personnel. The violence sent shockwaves through Culiacan, demonstrating the ongoing volatility of the region. The aftermath of the raid highlighted the precarious balance of power between the cartel and the state. Cartel members, enraged by Ovidio's capture, unleashed chaos across Culiacan, further straining the already tense relations between law enforcement and criminal organizations. This escalation served as a grim reminder of the cartel's deep-rooted influence and the ongoing struggle for control. Mini-Lick played a critical role in both operations, providing invaluable information to the DEA despite his long list of crimes. His relatively short 5-year sentence underscores his importance to law enforcement. His father's advice to surrender was a strategic decision aimed at protecting him from Los Chapitos, who had previously orchestrated a dramatic kidnapping in 2016. Mini-Lick's turncoat actions and their implications reveal much about the inner workings of the Sinaloa cartel and ongoing law enforcement challenges. Even after his prison release, Mini-Lick would have to stay far away from Mexico and pretty much any area where he would be at risk of coming into contact with any of his old friends or enemies. Many would love to see his head on a spike for the countless murders and kidnappings he orchestrated. However, many others would want him dead just to prove a point. Killing the biggest traitor in the history of the Sinaloa cartel would be a massive achievement in the criminal underworld. For now, Mini Lick is likely under witness protection, having traded his terrible past life for a chance at redemption. He is set to testify against Ovidio and the rest of Los Chapitos. His confessions will once again prove vital in understanding the full extent of Los Chapitos' brutal reign.